All right, guys, I'm here with Damon Jackson, UFC featherweight veteran of the game. I mean, he's been at it for quite a while. Has had two stints in the UFC. The second stint has been really, really successful. But he's got a fight coming up August 10th against Chepe Mariscal, who's 3-0 in the UFC. And Damon's looking to go out there on short notice and put on a good performance. So, how's your day been going so far, Damon?
It's good, man. I just finished training up in Dallas, and now I'm back in Rockwall, so I'm about to get some more cardio in just a minute. So going pretty good though.
Yeah, and the first thing I kind of wanted to discuss with you is I've looked at the odds already for this fight with Chepe, and you're a pretty big underdog. And then I was like, well, you've kind of already been the underdog in most of your fights in the UFC. I looked, your last four fights have all had you as the underdog. Out of your 12 fights in the UFC, you've been the dog 9 out of 12 of those times. So how does it feel to kind of always be underestimated and then going out there and kind of proving people wrong like time and time again?
I don't even know, man. Like, I don't even know what to think. It's like it's funny to me when they tell me the odds, and I'm not the favorite, because that's like I just it cracks me up because I'm like someone's making money out there because I know a lot of people are betting on me, and it's a good fight. It's a good position to be in. I don't think that he thinks he's so much of a like that he I don't think he thinks I'm the underdog like that. I think he knows it's a tough fight, and like it's funny to me. There's some money to be made there for sure because I'm ready to go.
Yeah, and I'm sure like a lot of it has to do with like people obviously knowing that you're taking these fights on short notice, but I know you're always like prepared for these short notice fights. It's not like you're getting out of shape in the off season or things like that. You're always in shape when you're taking these short notice fights.
Yeah, no, I mean, I was ready to go on June 20th. That's the date that I thought was going to happen, and I was like, I was very prepared. So it's just giving me even more time to, kind of dial in and get ready. So, it's just, it is what it is, man. I'll take these fights all day, and underdog or not, like I'll be there ready to fight. So, I'm excited for sure.
Now, I wanted to kind of point this out because there's a weird sort of like course of events that have actually caused this fight to happen. So many things needed to happen for you to be in this position to fight Chepe. Of course, the original fight wasn't even Chepe. It was Dan Ige, Joe Anderson, Brito. Brito pulled out. Then it was
Yeah.
Dan Ige, Chepe. Dan Ige does all his craziness. If his BMF fight goes over on short notice, like really, really short notice, Chepe needs an opponent. You step in, they push the fight back. I mean, it's been so many craziness that's caused you to get this fight. So my question here is, what do you think about all of these featherweights just being really willing, just like yourself, to kind of take these opportunities in stride and come in on short notice? Because there's been so many guys willing to do this.
Yeah, man. I think it's just like people you get in a position with UFC, it's like yeah, like if you're close to those rankings or if you're, a tougher fight, it's kind of hard to get matchups whenever you want. And for me, it's like I've been begging for a fight since my last fight, and it hasn't worked out. So I've literally just been waiting for this kind of call, it's like a short notice kind of tough fight, something that will get some attention at least. And Chepe's he's a tough dude, and he's on a win streak. So those kind of guys are always good to fight and test yourself. So it's the craziness isn't so much for me. It's definitely, I'm sure it's been crazy for him too, because he's been, up and down with different opponents and dates and everything like that. So for me, the a little bit extra time gave me more time to train. So it's nothing but positive for me. But I'm ready to go, man. I'm excited, and I know that he's a tough fight and it's a good matchup to prove something. With a win over him would be huge. So just I'm ready to go, man. I'm excited.
Now, how do you kind of view this matchup? Obviously, Chepe, most of his fights in the UFC so far have kind of primarily been striking fights, but a few of them have ended up on the ground in kind of like weird situations where you got the Jack Jenkins finish in a very odd circumstance. Do you expect this to be primarily a striking battle between you two, or do you expect there to be a lot of grappling?
Man, I'm healthy. I haven't been healthy in a long time. So like the old me is definitely back. So I'm not gonna sit there and let him punch me in the face over and over. So The fight's definitely going to go to the ground at some point. I'm not going to sit there and trade with him back and forth just to prove something. Like I don't have anything to prove. I want to go out there and get a finish, however I get it. But I've been working so much on my stand up because my chest is, it was the issue for a long time. I had that tour pack, and that was the issue for a long time. And just kind of go back to your last questions. Like all these guys they're willing to take these short notice fights because it's like you don't get them very often. So if you're hurt or not hurt, or like if it's not the best matchup or if it's not the best timing, you still kind of take it because you don't get those opportunities a lot. So, just with any promotion, it's just like it's special to get that time because it's so hard to do what we do, and to be ready at 100% is kind of hard to do that too. So for me, I've had these awesome training camps where they told me like 3 months out, like, hey, you're gonna fight this day, and then you do all the training the right way, you do all the weight cut the right way, and then you have a bad weight cut and you have a bad performance, and you had a full camp. So like for me, taking a short notice fight, I feel like you don't have as much to prove, so mentally you're a little bit stronger, and I feel like you have more freedom to kind of do what you want. And so for this fight, I'm excited for it. It's a tough matchup, but a lot of ways it makes sense for me to take this fight.
So you were saying like the mentality wise, you're feeling in a better place than usual when it is a short notice battle versus like a 3 month break where you're just waiting and waiting and waiting and contemplating the opponent and things like that. So would you prefer like from now on just to have more short notice fights than really
Man,
long
yeah.
camps?
Yes, yes. I know for a fact that I annoy my manager, and I annoy my coach, and I'm sure I annoy Sean Shelby because I'm always asking for something. Like I'm always ready to go. So when something comes up, I always throw my name in the hat, and I always say like, "Hey, I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm ready." So that way that they know I'm there, and they can't, if something comes up and it makes sense, like I don't want to be looked past. And I train every day for a reason. I'm always like I eat the same thing every day. I do the exact same thing. I'm ready to go. And it feels nice to be healthy again and to be able to wrestle and to be able to grapple and to have that endurance again. I'm happy I'm getting to train. I feel like I'm better than I was when I was 26. So it's nice to be back in that mindset and that my old body. So
Now, of course, Chepe right now he's done very good in the UFC, 3-0 start, which is very very impressive for a pretty stacked weight class that is 145 pounds. And you've been kind of fighting more like the veteran types recently, Alexander Hernandez, Billy Q, Dan Ige, a lot of guys that have been around the block for quite a while. But Chepe's more of a newer up and coming type of a guy, and he is undefeated in the UFC. So what's the thought process like going from fighting a lot of these guys that have been here for a while versus a guy that hasn't lost, hasn't tasted defeat yet inside of the UFC?
I mean, I don't really. I just look at the matchup and stuff. I like the matchup for my style a lot, and I like that. I like that he's got a lot of hype. That's cool, and it's everybody thinks it's such a tough fight, and I really like it a lot. Style wise, and just the way I am right now. Like, I'm in a different level right now than I have been in a long time, and it's nice to be back there. And Chepe's a tough dude, and I see that. I see it's not like I'm trying to step in on some guy's debut that, doesn't need
Yeah.
to be in the UFC. Like I'm coming in knowing this guy's a tough dude, but it's giving him a shot to, work his way into that mix. And it's not like I'm a top 10 or top 15 guy, so it's like, who am I to deny, this fight? And when the opportunity came up, I was willing to take it on a short notice, and then it got pushed back. So it looks good for me. It's good that he has a fight. It's good that he's getting to have a tough fight. And for me, it's like I could take all that thunder that he has with that 3-0, that streak, and get back on the streak myself.
Yeah, and if you do go out there and take his streak away, you'll be on a little bit of a streak yourself with 2 wins in a row in the featherweight division. Would you expect or hope for a top 15 fight after that? Or again, are you just saying whatever the UFC kind of offers me?
Yeah, man. I mean, obviously that's kind of what we're all trying to do is work our way up that mix. But whatever, if Sean calls me or calls Jason, and they need me to fight on a 1 day notice again, like whatever, like I'm down, man. I'm ready to go. I can fight 45 or 55. I walk around about 173. So me making 45, I make it happen, but it's not like it's easy, so I could always take a 55. I could always go up too.
And this is going to be a little bit of an oddball kind of question here, but a lot of people wanted me to ask you this for whatever reason. It's about the EA UFC 5 video game. They were asking me, did you get into the game, and was it before or after the hair transplant?
Am I in the game?
Yeah, on the UFC 5 game.
I didn't know I was in it. That's pretty cool. No, I didn't. I had no clue. I mean, yeah. I mean, I don't know. Did they give me the hair transplant or no?
That's what I was trying to ask you. I didn't know if they did it before or maybe they did it after.
I don't know. I haven't played. I don't play video games, so I need to get on there and see what it's about. I haven't seen the character or anything, so that's pretty
Gotcha.
cool. But no, they did that a while back. Like, actually, it was before my last fight. They did like the video and the pictures and all that stuff. They did that last fight, but I didn't know it was an actual character yet. That's pretty cool.
Now, your last opponent, obviously, it was a pretty close fight, but one of the judges did give it to your opponent for whatever reason. And in the lead up to that fight, I was seeing in a lot of the press conferences and things like that, there was like sort of like tension and bad blood there. Is there still kind of that bad blood between you and Alexander Hernandez?
No, there wasn't really like in between me and him. I just think he's kind of a douche for what he's, said a few times, like about his, Cowboy. Me and Cowboy, I've known him for a little while, before he got like super, super hype. And then he went through his little phase where he was like he was the man. And then Alex came in and was talking crap about him. And he used to come to my gym because him and my coach are really good friends, and he used to come to my gym every once in a while. And he did like a little seminar at my place, and I sparred with him when I was like a really young fighter. And so, it was just kind of like when he was like talking smack about Cowboy, it was kind of annoying, and so that's why I didn't like him. But I don't really know him as a person. But he's not like, I mean, the whole fight week, it's not like anything happened. It's just that one time he, kind of made an ass of himself, and he really never recovered since then. After
Yeah.
he lost to Cowboy, it's kind of like he didn't really try to make people like him. So that's just kind of what everybody thinks of him, is that one, interview or that one fight where he was like talking so much crap.
Yeah.
But
Is
no,
there any other?
I don't have beef with anyone. Like I'm pretty chill as far as like like I don't really get that mad that easy. So these guys, I've only had a handful of people ever say anything to me pre-fight. Like we're out there, we're punching each other in the face and stuff. So there's really no room for that. So it is what it is.
Do you maybe feel like it would take away from your energy and kind of like concentration for your fight camp if you are kind of engaging in these like online sort of battles and feuds with your opponent?
Yeah, 100%. I think it's so petty. I think it's like it's not manly. It's like what we what we do is about as manly as it gets. So when you're out here like, oh, I'm gonna kick your ass online, and then they're saying something back to you. Like if you don't have something personal like beef, like someone they hit on your girlfriend, or they said something negative about your family, or something like that. Like, if it's not like that, like it's hard to make beef up because we all do this shit. We all have respect for that for those other fighters. So it's kind of hard to make beef happen unless it's like something real.
Yeah. And of course I believe this is your second fight in 2024. Would you like to be like a little bit more active than you have been? I mean, it's still a decent amount of fights per year, but how many fights would you like in a calendar year?
Four per
Four.
year yeah, because I mean I this is my whole life is kind of based around that. So like my travel, like with my kids, my how I eat, how I the times I'm training, the times that like I'm available to be at my gym to coach, and like everything kind of is regulated by when I have a fight. So I like to stay busy, and I like to kind of know my schedule a little better than what it does. But MMA is super unpredictable, and it's hard to kind of live your life that way. But it's kind of like what I've done my whole career is everything I do is based around when my next fight is. So I would definitely like to stay active, more active.
So I mean, there's still technically a chance for you to get those four fights in 2024. Is that like
Yeah,
the goal? If you're not injured, you're
stay
you're kind of
healthy, man.
healthy.
Yeah, stay healthy, and like if like short notice comes up, or if there's an opening that comes up and it makes sense, then that's what I want, is to get, like, if I could get this fight in and then bust out two more after that this year, would be huge. And that would definitely be like a kind of a goal, is to get 100% get one more, but try to get two more.
Now, for those two fights, if you are able to get them, are you looking like throughout some of the cards that are coming up and having your eye on maybe like a crowded card or something like that?
Always, always. I'm always I'm kind of like a nerd with that whole Tapology. I go on there and I look at every featherweight matchup coming up, like ranked or not ranked. Like, I don't really care. I just look at all almost, not every week, but almost every week I do a mock weight cut, where I'm like, on Thursday I'm kind of like stopping my water load, and then I start kind of do like a cardio with, light sweats on, and then on Friday mornings I always do like a super hard weight cut, and I get down, at least like 10, 12 pounds from wherever I'm at. And that's just something I've done forever. And I'm always like, it just helps me when it comes to like time to cut. It helps me just get in that mindset. And I enjoy it. I love that fitness part of it too.
Yeah, and I've actually heard, I think I'm forgetting the fighter that said it to me, but he was talking about how he always waits for like a UFC fight night or a pay-per-view that has like maybe three fights in his specific weight class, and he will
Yeah.
literally cut down and make weight just in case there's that opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, like, most of the time, you're not gonna get, like, if it's like a 2 days, like 2 days out, or maybe 3 days out. If it's not a ranked fight, you're not gonna get that call. They're just gonna drop the fight most of the time.
Yeah.
But if it's a ranked fight, then they have to fill that spot. So that's not a bad idea. But like, whenever you're looking at, certain matchups like that, like I do it so much. Like, every time that I see someone ranked, I'm ready to go, just in case. Because it's like, if you're that guy 2 days out and you've been training, but then everybody thinks that you just got a short notice, it's like you could go out there and take all that away from whoever it is. And it's just part of, like, you only have like a limited time
Yeah.
to do the sport. So taking advantage of that's always on my mind. Yeah.
And you were talking about taking advantage of like all of these fighters kind of hype going into that, you're 35 years old, but I haven't really seen you like slow down. It looks like you're still improving in the grappling, getting
Uh,
better with your striking and things. How long do you expect to keep fighting in the UFC, and do you have any like major goals you want to accomplish?
I don't really like, man. If I'm healthy and I'm beating all these like young guys in the gym at my gym. Like, Fortis is like, we're one of the best gyms out there, and so if I'm hanging with all these young guys that are going out there and performing, and they're looking great in the gym, and I know, like, how strong they are and whatever. Like, if I'm doing all those things and I'm constantly getting better, and I'm not getting my ass kicked in practice, and I'm gonna keep doing this because I love it. And as far as like, I'm 35, yeah, but I have really, really made some huge changes with my stand up stuff, and my weight cut's going to be way better this time. And then my cardio is back on point. My grappling's back on point. And so having all that stuff kind of come into at this age, it's been awesome. And it's like, now that I have my gym going, like, financially, like, I'm able to train the way I should have been able to train this whole time. And now it's like, now I can do that, and I live pretty comfortable now. So it's like, that helps a lot.
And is there any, I like to ask like all fighters this because I want to see what they'd like fans to perceive them as. Is there a description you would hope like every UFC fan to say, "Oh, Damon Jackson's fighting on this card." What would you like them to say?
Um, Shit. Like, I'm a game fighter, and then, like, I'm a good dad. That's like really all I care about, is the fact that I have four little babies that I love, and that's really all I care about. And you know, this sport's a very selfish sport, so every time I get to do it, I love it. But it's like I miss a lot. Like my daughter's turning the day after the fight. I've got to fly back on a 5:30 a.m. flight because my 12-year-old she's turning 13. So there's just and my birthday's actually on the 8th, so I'll be cutting weight during my birthday. So it's just like it's a selfish sport, and so for me to get out there, like when I fight, I want to be in there, engaged on my fight, and I want people to see that I'm always ready to fight. But for the most part, like all I really care about is my kids. So that's important to me too.
Now I saw like a lot of rumblings. It was literally just like 30 minutes ago of Ilya Taporia tweeting something out, Max Holloway tweeting something out. It sounds like they're gonna be confirming that fight in like the next week or so. Obviously, you were one of the earliest opponents for Ilya Taporia when he first got into the UFC. Is there any prediction you do have for that title fight coming up?
I think Max can beat him in a lot of ways. I think that Max is boxing, and I think that his range is going to be an issue. I think that his cardio is going to be an issue. There's a lot of pros for Max, and if I really had to pick, I'm picking Max. And I think Ilya is tough as fuck, and I think that I'm not going to be like surprised if he catches him somehow because he does have that knockout power, that one shot power, and I wouldn't be surprised if somehow he catches him like early on. But if it goes into the second or third, Max is winning that fight.
And Max is one of those guys where he's been in the UFC since he was like maybe 19, 20 years old, and he's yet to
Crazy.
be knocked down even once in any of those fights. But you got to think if he would, it'd probably be a guy like Ilya Taporia to do so.
Yeah, I think that Ilya's definitely got he's a shorter guy kind
Yeah.
of thing where he comes over top and catches people like coming. He comes over top every time and drops everybody at that right hand. So he's a tough dude, but I think Max is he's got what it takes for sure to beat him, and I think he will. Honestly, I
And
don't know about
what
that. I think that he could potentially get a TKO finish in the fourth or fifth, but if not, it's going to go to Max on decision for sure. Yeah.
would you expect? Because obviously, nobody really wants to go out there and strike 5 rounds with Max Holloway. It's a very, very tough task. Would you expect? I know Ilya hasn't shown it in a lot of his fights, but he has a great grappling and
Yeah.
wrestling
Actually,
background.
whenever I got that whenever I got that fight, I thought it was going to be a grappling fight. I was like, oh, this dude, whatever. He's going to shoot it on me. I'm going to stab him with the guillotine. I didn't even think twice about it. My coach was like, oh, this is a tough fight. And I was like, nah, I'm going to smash you on the ground, whatever. And, so I know how good Ilya's grappling is, but Max has fought some great grapplers, and he doesn't get taken down easy.
No.
He has that cardio maybe he gets taken down, but to get back up and then to continue to have that pressure. So, I think Max wins that fight, but it's a tough fight for sure.
Now, my last question before I let you go, is there any guy in that top 15 of the featherweight division that would be your absolute dream fight right now?
Honestly, man, like I'd like to go up against Bryce Mitchell just because the grappling aspect of it. And I think that's a reasonable fight considering that he lost his last, I think lost two. So I don't
Yeah,
know.
to Josh
Um,
Emmett and someone else.
I heard that he might be fighting Sean Woodson. So maybe one of those guys will get hurt and I'll step in on that. I would fight
True.
either one of those guys. Yeah.
Well, yeah, thank you for taking the time. I know you've been training, you're working for this fight, putting in all that work, and yeah, thanks for the time, man.
Yeah, for sure, man. All right.
Talk to you
Later.
later.